Get the guitar. Right. Here we go. Back to home, back to Godhead. Okay. Good to see everybody again. Last night was a little bit unusual program. We had a program at someone's house in Orlando. And today we are back in North Carolina. And then on Friday, I am going to Sacramento, California. Hopefully we'll be able to give class from there. Okay. Radha Krishna Save Baba. Hey Amilasi. Radha Krishna Save Baba. Hey Amilasi. Tomara Sharanloy Taravanchapurna Hoidi Gripa Kori Tari Vrindavana Vasi Namo Nama Tulasi Krishna Premase Vilas Kunjetiovas Nayane Revsana Yugalaruparasi Namo Namah Tulasi Krishna Prayase Sakiranuma Akora Sevadiko Rodie Koronija Dasi Namo Namah Ulasi Krishna Prayase Shri Radha Govinda Preme Sadayena Bhase Namo Namago Tulasi Krishna Vyase Namo Namah Yani Gani Japapane Brahmacharika Jani Jani Prana Shanti Pranaksina Pade Bhute Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Tulsi Deveda 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 Prabhupada Prabhupada Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Paravatikacharya All Suteta Satashi Shimad His Divine Grace Savaya Chaitanya Bhaktivedanta Goswami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Brahman Sekaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shidwaita Gada Shiva Sadikor Bhaktivedanta Ki Jai Shri Shri Radhakrishna Gopi Gopinath Shyamakunda Radhakunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Vrindavanam Maturam Ki Jai Jagannath Swami Ki Jai Yamunamai Ki Jai Shrimati Lasi Devi Ki Jai Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Gaur Premananda Haribol All glorious the assembled devotees, all glorious the assembled devotees, all glorious the assembled devotees, all glorious to Shri Guru and Gauranga Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namani Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharani Nivashesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Dejatarne I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of my spiritual masters. Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, who so kindly opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge while I was blinded in the darkness of ignorance. Om Ganat Midandasha Gananjana Salakaya Chakshur Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So, let's continue with the class. Jaiva Dharma. Oh, actually, I have to read the translation. O Tulsi, beloved of Krishna, I bow before you again and again. My desire is to obtain the service of Shri Shri Radha Krishna. Whoever takes shelter of you has their wishes fulfilled. Bestowing your mercy, you make them a resident of Vrindavanam. My desire is that you will also grant me a residence in the pleasure groves of Sri Vrindavanam. Thus, within my vision, I will always behold the beautiful pastimes of Radha and Krishna. I beg you to make me a follower of the coward damsel of Braj. Please give me the privilege of devotional service and make me your own maidservant. This very fallen and lovely servant of Krishna prays might always swim in the love of Shishi Radha Govinda ki jai. So, I think we're ready to go to share the screen and continue with the Jaiva Dharma. So, I already did that. So, let's go share the screen. Okay, interesting. Here we go. Alrighty. Just center this. So let's see, where are we? Yeah. Okay, let's continue reading. All the forms of the Lord are eternal, appearing constantly within the material world with bodies of Paramatma. It doesn't really make sense. Paramananda Jnana Matrasya Sarvaja Sarva Sarvigunai Purna Sarve Nitya Sashutav Dehas Tasya Paramatmana. All the forms of the Lord which are eternally. Oh, okay. So all the forms of the Lord are eternally appearing constantly within the material world. The forms which are, there's a which, because except for Krishna himself, they're expansions from Mahavishnu, basically. Krishna himself and Balaram. They're completely filled with the highest bliss and knowledge for good qualities and void of all faults. Vaishnava Tantra says, Ashtada Chai Rahita Bhagavat Tanu Sarvaishvarya Mai Satya Vijnananda Rupini. The Lord's body is devoid of the 18 great faults. It is a form of truth, knowledge, and bliss, this Satchidananda, and is endowed with all powers. 18 Yamala. Oh my God. I'm going to finding with all of you. This is Yamala. Mohastandra Urbana Lolamadamatsaryao Hingsakeda Parishramao Asacham Kroda Akanksha Ashanka Vishwa Vibrama Vishwa Parapeksha Dosha Ashta Doshodita. The 18 faults are bewilderment. If the shoe fits, wear it. Sleep. Who's without sleep? Except for a pure devotee. Error, who does not make errors. Material attachment without prema. How many things we all attach to in this world that have nothing to do with the love of Krishna. Material lust, which brings suffering, and we want more, more, more. Fickleness, not sticking to our determination. Intoxication, we just stay on the internet and get into our mobile phones and look at TikTok. TikTok means your life is passing by like the clock. TikTok. You can think about that. Maybe that'll help you overcome that addiction. Because the life is just like flowing by. Every moment is valuable, but you're wasting it. And that's why it's called TikTok. Because the clock is ticking, tick, 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 tock. Envy. Oh my God. We want something someone else has. We want to use someone. Violence. We get angry at our enemies. Angry at people who want to hurt someone. We get exhausted. We're tired. We work hard. We lie. We get angry. We hanker for things. We're always in anxiety. That's called kuntha, anxiety. And absorbed in worldly affairs. How to keep this body happy. racial prejudice. We're talking about species prejudice. Like you look at a cockroach and you think, ooh, get rid of him because the cockroaches interfere with my happiness and dependence on others, other material others, not the guru. The good qualities are found in the avatars, but in Krishna, the avatari, that means the source of all the avatars, the incarnations that come down, the qualities are manifest to the highest degree. Krishna manifests 8 excellent qualities of glory: playfulness, sweetness, auspiciousness, steadiness, influence, and voluptuousness and generosity. Now, I am going to look for a definition of voluptuousness. Hold on a second. This should be interesting. Usually you say that about a lady who is just like hanging out all over the place. Voluptuous meaning. Okay. Voluptuous meaning. Curvaceous. Hey, that's pretty good. It's usually used in relationship to mundane romance. But Krishna is certainly curvaceous. He's threefold curves in his body. Shapely is another synonym. Full figure, rounded. Uh, Sometimes there's actually anyway. There's actually Krishna too. It's a really interesting word. Hedonistic, like Krishna's the enjoyer. Yeah, like if someone's a hedonist, that means wow, that's a insult. They're just interested in sense gratification. But Krishna's interested in enjoying. Epicurean, interested in eating nice food. Pleasure loving. Pleasure seeking. And here's another word that I don't know. Cybaric. Let's see what it. Cybaric means fond of sensuous luxury or pleasure, self-indulgent. Yeah, that's Krishna. That's my Krishna. Emulation of those whom one regards as greater, as well as courage, enthusiasm, expertise, and truth. It is known as, hold on, the internet connection, as glory, shobha. These are Krishna's qualities. When there is a heavy gait, steady gaze like that of a bull, and laughing words, it is called playfulness. Vilasa. Vilasa means like pastime or playfulness. Like prema vilasa means the pastime of love, actually. When there is a desire through actions, it is called sweetness. Madhurya. Madhurya means sweetness. Like the word, like if you're in Hindi, you say madhumaki, means a sweet bug, which is a bee, actually. That's the word. It's better to just say bee, anyway, because a sweet bug. That's a sweet bug. It's actually funny. I call it a bee a sweet bug. Being the that sweet bug. Anyway, just like we were just in Orlando, and there's a place called Red Bug Lake. All these interesting names. Being the object of faith for the world is called auspiciousness, mangalya. That means very auspicious. To remain fixed in one's duties, even though they are fulfilled with obstacles, is called steadiness, staira. These are qualities of devotees too. The ability to enter into the hearts of all others is called influence. Tejas means power. When there are activities of explicit conjugal nature, it is known as voluptuousness. Definitions of voluptuous, which are actually really interesting. likes to eat a lot or eat tasty food. Generosity is the willingness to offer to another person even one soul. So Krishna does that. Krishna is willing to offer himself to a devotee, even though he doesn't have to ontologically. Krishna is the crest jewel of heroes. Thus he is glorified by the sages like Garga, that's Garga Muni, for Dharma, religion, by Yudhara and others for fighting. Yudhara means basically the wealth of fighting. And Uddhava for assisting and counseling. Uddhava was a great counselor. Brajanath said, I received sufficient teachings related to Krishna as the hero in Ras. I describe the devotee of Krishna within the Vibhava suitable for us. Vibhava means a stimulation of ecstatic love or ecstatic emotion. Connected face the taste of a relationship, sometimes. Goswami said, persons whose hearts are filled with bhava, emotion, for Krishna are devotees with rasa tattva. In other words, they know the truth about Krishna, and they know the truth about the relationships with Krishna. Krishna's 29 qualities, from truthfulness to shyness, are presented all devotees of Krishna, as pure devotees. Brajana said, how many types of devotees of Krishna are there who are suitable for taste? Suitable. Well, this is actually encouraging. The sadhakas and the siddhas. Sadhaka means the practicers, those who practice, and those who are perfect. And Brajana says, who are the sadhakas? And Goswami says, persons who concentrate on Krishna, but whose obstacles are not completely removed, having attained qualification for directly meeting Krishna as described, are called sadhakas. The Majjhima devotees described in Srimad Bhagavatam 11.2.46 are among the sadhakas. Let's take a look. Well, I'll read that to you. 11.2.46. It's nice to be able to random access things here. Tells you my Bhagavatam 11.2.46. Hold on a second. We're almost there. And I'm going to read it. I won't share the screen, but I'll just read it. So, Ishwaretad Adhinesha Balileshu Dishat Sucha Prema Maitri Kripo Beksha Yakaroti Samajjhima. So the Majjhima Adhikari is a famous verse, actually. And the statement is an intermediate or second-class devotee called Majjhima Adhikari offers his love to the Supreme Personality, makes friendship with the Lord, shows mercy to ignorant people, regards those who are envious of the Supreme. So that's a definition, one of the definitions of Majjhima Adhikari. Interesting. Okay. So those people are among the sadhakas, and they're actually, there's internet connection unstable then, they're actually qualified to taste ras. Wow. That is so encouraging. So encouraging. So most of us are qualified. Bhajana says, Prabhu, cannot the Kanishta, who only worships the deity, Bhagavatam 11.2.47, be qualified for ras? And that verse describes the Kanishta, and we're going to read that verse. A devotee who faithfully engages in the worship of the deity in the temple but does not behave properly towards the other living entities is called the Prakrita Bhakta. A materialistic devotee is considered to be in the lowest position. So that's the Kanishta, right? The lowest type of devotee. Okay, interesting. Interesting. So is that particular devotee qualified for ras, to taste devotional service in a real deep way? I mean, even a materialist can have like a shadow attachment if they come across a devotee giving an ecstatic Bhagavatam class or hear the holy names. But we're talking about a real deep taste. So the Madhyamadikari is qualified to have that real deep taste. So that in order to be a Madhyamadikari, one has to distinguish between the devotees, the innocent, the rascals, and the Supreme Personality of God. Those who have not yet realized that they are devotees. Nobody's a rascal. So here the question is raised, are the Kanishta, or the lowest class, who just worship the deity and don't pay attention to the other devotees or living entities, are they qualified to taste ras? And Goswami says, no. Until they become pure devotees by the mercy of pure devotees, they cannot be sadhakas for ras. In other words, they cannot be in the practice form for ras. Persons like Bilva Mangal are actually sadhakas. Well, he was a sadhaka. Of course, he became a pure devotee. Rajana said, so who are the siddhas? That is, those who are perfect. Siddha means perfection. So Goswami said, those who do not experience any suffering, leaves us out, whose every action takes shelter of Krishna and are surrendered to the taste of prema's happiness at all times, are siddha, perfect devotees. They may be some prapta siddha or nitya siddha. In other words, some prapta siddha means they became prapta, they took up, became siddha, or nitya siddha means eternally siddha. It's perfect. Brajana said, who are these some prapta siddhas? Who are those who became Krishna conscious? And there's two types of those some prapta siddhas: sadhana siddha and kripa siddha. Now let me explain that. There's two types of devotees who became pure devotees. Okay, one is by practice, and that's most of us. And the other one is by kripa. Kripa means mercy. In other words, somehow or they get some special mercy. And in one sense, we're actually a combination of them, because if we please Prabhupada, we get Prabhupada's mercy, and then we can become siddha. So kripa siddha, mercy. And Prabhupada said, but we shouldn't think that we can just sit back on our haunches and then become Krishna conscious, and then we'll get the blessings. You know, you touch the pure. That's like someone thinking they don't have to go to the university and they will get a degree. And for some people, it happens. They do something very special, like Einstein, or they have recognition by the government and they're given an honorary degree. So Prajna says, who are the Nitya Siddhas? So he's asking, who are those who are eternally liberated? Rupa Goswami has written, Atma Kote Gunan Krishna Premanam Paramam Gata Nichananda Guna Sarve Nityasira Mukundavat. Those whose very body and qualities are like Mukundas and who possess the highest prema for Krishna, which is 10 million times greater than attachment for the self, are called Nityas, eternally. From Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 290. So that's the quality of someone who never, never, never leaves the spiritual world or leaves each pure devotional service. It's interesting, beautiful verses. Another verse from the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Oh, actually, it says the Padma Purana and the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. The Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu is actually quotes from the Padma Purana. Yata somitra yata sankarshana deha tatate naiva jayante nija lokad yadrichya punastena gachanti tat padam shashvatam padam nakarma bandana snavana. Lakshman, Bart, and Sankarshan take birth of the Lord. The Yava, take birth with the appearance of Lord Krishna, and then return to his eternal Dham along with him. The birth of these devotees is not caused by the bondage of karma. Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 298. So in other words, when the Lord appears, then the Lord appears with his Nityasiddha or eternal devotees who descend with him or before him, but roughly at the same time. One devotee said he can understand. It's actually easy to understand. Brajanath said, Prabhu, I have understood alambana within vibhava. Now please explain. Udipana. All right, so just to reiterate what we talked about before, vibhava means that which stimulates an emotion. Okay, a spiritual emotion. Of course, there's material emotions that are stimulated by material vibhavas. You know, if you see a race car, you feel excited. See a Maserati, then you feel excited. That's a material vibhava. So anyway, so amongst vibhavas or stimulations for ecstatic spiritual emotions, there's a lambana. Directly means later. You're going to hear about this. Goswami said things which stimulate the bhava, which is exactly what I just said, are the udipanas, Krishna's qualities, activities, decorations, laugh, bodily fragrance, flute, horn, ankle bells, conch, marks on his feet, his place, tulasi, his devotees, and Ekadashi, wow, as well as other items are all udipanas. In other words, they remind us of Krishna and they stimulate. I mean, just for example, when my mother was alive, she would look at my little baby shoes. That's an udipana. And she would feel great, I don't want to say ecstasy, but, great stirrings of the heart. Oh, my baby. So that's a perverted reflection. Oh my God, I can't criticize my mother. But that's a reflection of what happens in the spiritual world. Krishna's qualities of two types, bodily, verbal, and mental. You describe Krishna's body, verbal, means Krishna's speech, and mental, Krishna's mental. Amongst his body qualities, his age is this chief quality. There are three ages, Komara, Poganda, and Kashora. These are the ages, of course, in Vrindavan, okay? And when Krishna reaches the Yovana stage, he actually transfers himself into Kumar is like, I'm trying to remember the exact definition, not like a little baby. Poganda is when you get a little older, and Kaishora is when you're full youth, but not old age. Komaram Panchamadantam Pogandam Dashamavati Asudashat Chikaishoram Yovanam Shat Tata Param. Childhood, Komara, ends with the 5th year. Boyhood, Boganda, ends with the 10th year. So here's the description. With the 5th year, boyhood ends with the 10th year. Pretty easy to remember. Youth, Shora, ends with the 16th. Manhood. Bhakti Rasa is into 21309. 16th year. Good. Kaishura period is 3. So even in this Kaishura period, there's 3 divisions. That's youth. Beginning, middle, and end. That's easy to understand. The internet connection unstable again. Okay, now it's back to normal. Among the bodily qualities, beauty is also considered chief. Beauty means the proper placement of all limbs. The dress consists of clothing. This is Krishna's dress, of course, not yours. Decorations and hairstyle. Krishna has 3 types of flute, or flutes, plural. Venu, Murali, and Vamshika. The Venu is 12 fingers long. Let's see. This is 10 fingers and another 2 after that. The Venu is 12 fingers, 1 thumb wide, and has 6 holes. The sweet sounding Murali is 2 hands long. I guess 24 fingers or 18 inches long. Okay. With a hole at the end and 4 holes for producing sounds. The Vamshika is 17 fingers long with 9 holes, which is like 12.75 inches. 8 holes for playing notes are half a finger in diameter and spaced half a finger apart. A hole for blowing is placed 1.5 fingers from the 8th hole and is 1 finger in diameter. So devotees who are worshiping the deity can find these things authentically. It's really interesting. Of course, there are actually other flutes. This is not a limited description of the flutes that Krishna has, because Krishna has unlimited flutes. So friends who play the guitar, and they have like 20 or 30. There's 4 finger space remaining at the head of the flute and 3 finger space remaining at the end of the flute. The conch, with its spiral turning to the right, so right hand conch, which is held in Krishna's hand, is called the Panchajanya conch. Now actually there's a conch with a spiral turning to the left, which is called a Lakshmi conch. I'll tell you an interesting story. Once upon a time, I was in Miami, Florida. I was in charge of the temple. And there was a meeting of GBC meeting, and one of the devotees who came to the meeting was Vasudev. Vasudev, of course, was the one who started Krishna consciousness in Fiji. And I showed him the Lakshmi Conch, and he got all excited. He said, "I want one." And I said, "Okay." And I arranged to send him one. By all these udipanas, that means things that are connected with Krishna, the rati, or the love of the devotees, is stimulated and acts towards Krishna, finally becoming taste, or ras. Rati, that is love, is the sthai bhava, the continual emotion, and becomes ras, or taste. Okay. Sorry, I got diverted by a message. Rati is the sthai bhava and becomes ras. When you come tomorrow, I will explain the anubhavas, etc. Anubhava means the emotions that follow from the stimulation. That's basically. And these emotions, or expressions of emotions, are voluntary, which we're going to hear about tomorrow. Taken permission from Goswami's feet while contemplating the subject of ras, the taste of devotional service. Vijay Kumar and Brajanath went to see Siddha Bakula. And that's where Haridas Thakur would chant his japa years before this particular pastime has taken place, around the time of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, experiencing many types of bliss at the temple of Jagannath. And then they went to their lodging. For those of you who don't know what lodging means, it means where they were resting for the night. Usually we don't use that word that much in English anymore. So, chapter 27, Anubhavas. Okay, very interesting. This is the science. It's all from Nectar of Devotion. This is all Rupa Goswami's teachings that are being elaborated on by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur in this wonderful story format. Okay. So Ras, Anubhavas, Satvika Bhavas, Vyabhachari Bhavas, and Rati Abhas. Wow. So let's talk about this. Let me explain what those are. And as we go through this, we're going to hear their definition again and again. Anubhava means the voluntary expression of, let's say, when you get stimulated for love of Krishna. And that includes dancing or rolling on the ground, okay? So Satvika Bhavas are the continual ecstasies that one has by being connected with the spiritual energy or the spiritual mode of goodness, where the consciousness and the life airs become connected with the spiritual, what's called Vishuddha Sattva, the mode of goodness. And then Vyabhachari Bhavas, there's 33 of those. Satvika, there's 8 of them. Vyabhachari, there's 33. These are, and I've explained it before, the intermittent ecstasies that take over your whole consciousness, the whole body, and everything, and you have no control over them. That's why they're sometimes called Sanchari Bhavas, and I explained Sanchari many times. Sanchari means something that moves throughout your body. Okay, and Rachyabhasa. Rachyabhasa means that love, a shadow or a reflection of love. Just like we talked about Nam Abhasa. So Rachyabhasa means a shadow or reflection in someone who's not on the spiritual platform. Okay? The next day after midday, having taken prasad, the two thirsty, that's an interesting word for rasa tattva, the understanding of the taste of devotional service, which is elaborated on by Rupa Goswami and the appropriate named Bhakti Rasam Ritu Sindhu, the nectarian ocean of the taste of devotional service. Anyway, the next day after midday, having taken prasad, the two thirsty for rasa tattva arrived at Radhakant Math. That's for Keshava Pandit's Math. Gopal Guru Goswami, having taken Mahaprasad, wow, means food offered to the deity, was sitting waiting for the two inquisitive students. Janachandra Goswami was sitting next to him, writing a manual on worship. Wow. This is the Archana Padati, it's called. Gopal Guru Goswami's appearance was remarkable. He had the dress of a sannyasi, tilak on his forehead, the names of the Lord written on his limbs, 4 thick strands of tulsi beads around his neck, japa beads in his hand, and with eyes half closed in meditation, decorated with streams of tears. Periodically he would cry out, "Oh Gauranga, oh Nityananda." With a somewhat stout body and shining black complexion, he sat on a seat made of banana bark. At a distance were his wooden shoes, and nearby was his pot full of water. Because Vijay Kumar and Brajanath were learned in all scriptures, were proper Vaishnavas, and were residents of Navadvip, all the devotees of the Mat, that means the organization of Gopal Guru Goswami. And Janachandra. So anyway, of the Math, this is the temple or a place where the devotees lived, respected them. The two offered respects to Guru Goswami, and the Goswami embraced them and had them sit. Eventually, Brajanath politely raised the topic of ras. Ras means taste of devotional service. Goswami, with care, said, "Today, teaching you about anubhavas, which means voluntary expressions of ecstasy or emotion, and other ingredients, I will have you enter into rasa tattva, the understanding of what the taste of devotional service is. Among vibhava, the stimulation, anubhava, the voluntary expression, sattvika bhava, which are they're always there as part of one's personality, the emotions, of course, and vyabhachari bhava, the intermittent, uncontrollable ecstasies, intense ones that move throughout the body. I taught already about vibhava. Vibhava means the stimulation. Today, first I will explain anubhava. Please listen. Vibhava is the person in whom rati is experienced and the person who causes the rati. The person in whom rati is, so anyway, Vibhava, for those who are devotees, they are the ashraya, and Krishna is the vishaya. That means they're a repository of emotions, and Krishna is the object of emotions. That's what's being said. That by which the rati situated in the heart is understood in a practical way, is called anubhava or ubhashvara. Anubhava means voluntary expression. They are manifested as external symptoms, and they indicate the bhava situated in the heart. By external symptoms, dancing, which is why I spoke about before, rolling on the ground, singing, shouting, stretching of the body, grunting, yawning. That doesn't mean when you yawn it's a sign of ecstasy. It means you're succumbing to sleep. Sighing, oh Krishna, and disregarding everyone. In other words, not seeing anything, just drooling. That's every time you drool, because in the material world, drooling is a sign of ignorance. Loudly laughing, whirling about, and hiccuping, because one is so ecstatic. The bhava of the heart is revealed. Wow, that is simply wonderful, as Prabhupada would say. It's simply wonderful. Brajanath said, how can these external transformations nourish the taste of ras in the sthāyi bhava? It's a very interesting question. How can these external actions nourish your taste, like help you deepen the taste? When the taste of ras is internal, the anubhavas manifest externally in the body. How are they separate ingredients? How are they actually part of developing love for Krishna? How is external activity, how is dancing for the deities, how is rolling on the ground with these other activities part? How is it connected? It's simply external. He has a doubt here. A doubt or just a question. He doesn't really understand that. So, with that in mind, we are going to stop sharing. And then we will allow you to unmute yourselves and ask a question. Pretty interesting class today. It's actually always interesting. I'm so happy I'm giving this class because I'm understanding more and more just by giving the class. Reading is one thing, but when you actually explain it to others, you actually understand much more about devotional service. Every time I read it, I just understand more. Okay, gang. So who has a question? You can unmute yourself. Okay. Abhay Chaitanya has a question.
Hare Krishna Gurudev, please accept my respectful obeisances.
Not my blessings, all those Prabhupada. So, what's your question?
Gurudev, question is about, I'm just trying to understand bhava and rasa.
Okay.
So, what does one need to come first? What is the sort of difference between the two? Because it just seemed to be a bit intertwined in the
Yeah,
um,
Bhava
in the
is
playback. Yeah,
Bhava is an emotion, a spiritual emotion. You don't necessarily have to understand your rus or your taste or your rati, your relationship, before you can experience bhava. In other words, you can just be in ecstasy hearing a kirtan or jumping up and down, and you may not understand, you probably won't. You probably won't understand your eternal relationship. So rus actually comes after bhava. To understand one's rus. Although in the process of devotional service that we normally hear about, Adoshratata Sadhusangata Bhajana Kriya. The stage of bhava comes after you after you realize your rus.
that's what I was
Yeah,
confused
yeah.
about, Gurudev. So, which,
No, but bhava refers to emotions, but
yeah,
the stage of steady bhava,
yeah,
stage of whoops, I dropped something. The stage of steady bhava, when you're on that stage, that comes after you've recognized your relationship with Krishna. But you can experience bhava not steadily, but let's say momentarily or for an hour or two, whatever, without understanding it, Russ. But the
rasa is
yeah, but the stage of bhava is something different. Is that
okay.
okay?
Yeah, yeah. Now makes sense, Gurudev. Thank you for the class.
All right,
Haribol.
Hannibal. Okay, so who else has a question? You can unmute yourself, or you can type in the text window, or you can raise your hand. Anybody else have a question? It's interesting. Nobody has a question. All right.
I have a quick question.
Well, I think Divine came first.
Well, it's actually me, Tulsi.
Oh,
I
what?
snuck in. If there's someone else I want to ask, I was just because you left us with a real cliffhanger
Yeah.
there. So, I guess because you're manifesting bodily symptoms, it just helps you get more into it. I was
Yeah.
just
I mean,
thinking,
that's the point. It's actually a spiritual activity. Not to manifest all those. Sometimes someone may manifest them just to show off.
mhm.
That may be just a false ego thing. Like if I start rolling on the ground Mangalarchi tomorrow morning, that's a false ego thing. But if you actually feel the dancing and you feel happiness, that's bhava, and that's a anubhava. But and it's devotional service. When you dance to please Krishna, not to dance to please yourself. To see, that's something we could talk about tomorrow. That generally, I've seen that many devotees they dance, and it's the tension is taken away from the deities. The tension is taken away from Krishna.
Mhm.
It's just like they're just dancing the hokey pokey or something like that. They're just like boom, 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 boom. Then I mean, kirtan, you can do the same thing. You can actually just have take it in a material way, forget that you're doing it for Krishna. But we're members of the Bhakti Yoga movement, which means we have to always remember who we're doing our activities for, to please, not just for. It's not just that we're employees. We're doing everything for Krishna, but we're doing it to please Krishna. We're doing everything for Krishna to please Krishna. Yeah, so the activity of dancing is devotional service and is done on the sadhana platform. And when one experiences emotion or voluntarily dances, that's like an anubhava. And you don't have to be on the platform of bhava to express an anubhava. Okay? Because being on the platform, Baba, is a higher platform in devotional service, as was brought out in the question that was Abhay Chaitanya had raised. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you. Here's an here's something from the text window. Hare Krishna Gurudev. What an example of Krishna's mental qualities? Oh. Is the way he drives the devotee toward, that's his mental qualities, compassion through all the beauty. If you talk about Krishna's compassion, or you talk about Krishna's anger towards the demons, these are all mental qualities. Or the way he questioned the people of Braj for worshipping Indra. That sounds exactly a mental quality. Mental qualities mean like his motivation, what he's thinking of. So you have to describe his thinking. He's thinking he's very compassionate, like the way Krishna misses us. For example, in the Brihad Bhagavatamrita, the way Krishna greeted Gopakumar when Gopakumar came back to the spiritual world. And Krishna just fainted and said, I've been wondering, I was hoping he'd come back one day. Hoping against hope. So, that's one example of Krishna's mental quality. When you hear about those qualities, that's a stimulation for love of Krishna. That's interesting, isn't it? Stimulation for love of Krishna. Wow. I am in ecstasy. No. This is really a wonderful part. I mean, the whole Jaiva Dharma is very wonderful. So, it's all available for those who weren't able to join us tonight. It's available on my YouTube channel, bkgoswami Goswami. All the classes, the Jaiva Dharma, in order. And you just have to go to Jaiva Dharma, the topic, in the YouTube channel, and you can check. So, who else has a question before we end? It's actually time. So, all right. Time to end. So, thank you very much. Hopefully, we'll see everybody tomorrow, the same time, same station. Tomorrow, of course, here is Wednesday. And then Thursday, the next day. And Friday, we'll be traveling. Hopefully, I'll be able to do the class on Friday, or which is Saturday for those of you who are fortunate to live in the South Pacific. So, thank you very much. All glories to His Divine